everyone, and welcome to the New Roots podcast. Your hosts today, Joe and Jay, and we have a guest, Kristal. Kristal, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your background, Kristal?
Yeah, hi guys. Again, thank you for having me on today. A little bit about myself. I am the founder and director of a brand called the WaterCrystal, which is a luxury for a purpose brand. So very much about using the luxury industry and the luxury lifestyle and the corporate industry to make a positive impact in the world. So finding really beautiful ways to deliver on products and services in order to achieve some very critical global goals that we're working on. So my background is very much, I was raised in the countryside in Bedfordshire. I was raised around quite a beautiful way of life, around a lot of nature. I also come from a very humanitarian family, and we very much foster and adopt an approach to life of using our skills, qualities and talents to make a change in the world. And that brought me on to discovering and birthing the brand, the WaterCrystal. The service and products focus around high-end products of quality, great integrity, that also speak to the clients that we're focusing on to make a difference. So relaunching for 2024, it's Bolari Deluxe Crystal Glassware Collection. So it's handcrafted crystal that's all designed and crafted in the UK. We retail and hire the glassware to high-end locations and events. Initially, we are starting with the UK, and then the idea is to obviously expand this out internationally. The areas we're focusing on at the moment are male and female glassware, but only in the areas of he's based on a tree, she's based on a flower. We take 20% from the direct cost of hire or the cost of retail, price of retail, and give back to this particular product, gives back to clean water in developing communities and rainforest protection. So the glass has been designed with nature in mind, just really drawing on the elements that nature has abundantly provided us with. And using this, the WaterCrystal and Bolari Deluxe Crystal Glassware Collection as a platform to draw in the attention and the impact that we need from these industries that we're focusing on in order to give back to these particular charitable projects that we work in partnership with. So the WaterCrystal itself is a social business. So it's a profit-making business. However, we're very stringent about how the luxury and the revenue side translates to the impact side. And that's where we then work with partnership organizations and charities in order to fulfill our global impact goals.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You're a service to humanity.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you. As are you guys, and that's why collectively, individually and collectively, is paramount that we come together and find solutions, innovative initiatives and solutions to build back a beautiful world, which it once was, and I'm confident we can get back there again with our collective force in place.
Yeah.
I love that you say build back to, because it absolutely was, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And that's not just rose-tinted spectacles.
No, it really was, it was a beautiful planet, and it still is a beautiful, abundant planet. But this is why our partnership and us coming together and using New Roots as a platform to deliver that positive message for the masses, to create a future, our future generations deserve to enjoy a world that we have enjoyed.
Yeah, and we should try and leave the world better than how we found it in the beginning. I think if every generation did that, then that would be marching forwards to a better world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we're merely like guardians of the planet, aren't we? We're guardians. So whilst we're here, we're all individually and collectively duty bound to build and create and redesign or just bring back what we once knew as a abundant Mother Earth.
Going back to the glassware, how long did it take to master the glasses?
It's a good question. It's taken about 3 years of research and development, a fair amount of investment, many different samples and prototypes and partnerships and collaborations along the way. But thankfully, I've been able to fine tune it down to a small community of excellence, I'd like to think. There's many samples that have come and gone. There's many breakages along the way between the glassware and the packaging. But off the back of that, I've learned how to design something and protect, because it's very much about the protection of the glassware because it's so fragile as well. It's handcrafted crystal, but it's extremely fragile, exquisite quality. The glassware manufacturers actually do a lot of the glassware for parts of London. I can specifically speak about hotels in Knightsbridge, Mayfair, Belgravia. They also do a lot for the Saudi royals. They've got very, very high-end clientele. So we've gone through a number of years of different stages. It has taken a bit longer than what I would have hoped for because of the investment side of it. The WaterCrystal has been organically funded, so it's all in-house organically funded. There's no external funds or investors on board. That's for that side of it. We do have some new investors now, but they're for the kind of team development side of it and the scalability side. But yeah, it's taken all in all 3 years. Few tears along the way, many challenges, but it's been a really exciting, very fruitful, visionary process to go through because in essence, the whole key point of the water crystal is to be of service and build a beautiful world and leave a beautiful footprint for our younger future generations.
Amazing. And that's what it's about, right? It's about the next generation and
Absolutely.
how can they better inherit the planet.
Absolutely, yes.
So what partnerships are you with that are working with the WaterCrystal?
So the WaterCrystal currently we have a number of partnerships ranging from the luxury manufacturing side and then the impact side. So the luxury side would be restaurants, event planners, wedding planners, private dining chefs, because this is one of our main industries, private dining chefs. To the manufacturing side which is the crystal manufacturers that are based in the UK. To my packaging manufacturers, they were initially based in Shanghai, they're now based in Switzerland. To the impact side, which we use a platform, is called KindLink, which is a corporate social responsibility platform. And that allows us to partner with an impact platform outside of the WaterCrystal. So we come together as a partnership in order to really be able to showcase, enhance, and ensure the funds are accounted for via that platform. So that's KindLink. Outside of that, I funds organisations like Just for Drop, Ripple Africa. So Just for Drop work with clean water projects in developing communities. Ripple Africa protects rainforests and they plant trees. So there's so many different branches to the WaterCrystal. It's quite expansive because there's so many areas that needs tending to in order to build a brand of the WaterCrystal type.
Amazing. Water. Why is water so central for you?
Water is central for myself, but also all of us, all life that resides on this planet life is only sustained by the essence of water. Everything is reliant on water, whether that's us in our human form, our natural form, our nature, manufacturing. Everything requires water as a basis to survive. And that's why I had a dream many years ago, and it was all around water and protecting its integrity and the sanctity of it. So that then obviously brought me to the water crystal, which I then birthed off the back of that dream many, many moons ago. So water, it is instrumental. And right now there's so much pollution and corruption around our water. And moving forward in a future perspective, water is the new gold, it's the new oil in terms of how much in demand, how much is required. So with regards to water, water is very beautiful because water speaks volumes in a sense where I don't know if you guys know about, there's a Japanese scientist, which my brand name is very much formulated around. It's called the water crystals. So you can only make crystals from pure clean water. So then that speaks into our consciousness and our mindfulness as human beings as to how we appreciate, value and protect water, and in turn what water can do for us. So water, it carries a memory. Water carries a story. It carries an imprint, which if we charge it and we hone into it correctly, we can create such a flourishing way of life. But a lot of that has been lost along the way, and water is disrespected, it's corrupted, it's polluted, whether we're talking about our lakes, our oceans, our rainforests, everything, our coral reefs. I was doing a study more recently on the coral reefs and how we're losing everything at such an extreme pace that we have to pull it back very, very quickly, or humanity can't survive. Humanity is unable to survive given the output that we have at this time, with how we're just disrespecting and not honoring water how it should be honored and appreciated, and not recognizing. But I'm also aware that a lot of this starts with what we learn in the home and what we learn in school and what we learn in the greater community, because these are things that should really be implemented in the core roots of just understanding its importance. So water speaks volumes, whether it's from a conscious side of things in terms of how we can charge water mindfully, but also how water can give back to us. So it's a transaction. It's working in harmony with water and really valuing what water represents. And it's this transparent, clear, what seems to be quite a tasteless liquid. But without that, there is no life. So it's really drawing on the beauty of what it represents. And taking a leadership and being and speaking out. It's almost like being a voice for water. I'm very passionate about being a voice for water. Obviously discovering that and learning that in my own personal self, and then obviously family and the water crystal and the greater communities. But we need to pay a daily homage to water.
We are mostly water ourselves as human beings, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad you highlighted that as well, Jay. We're 70 to 80% water, and every functionality in the body, the organs, whatever organs we're talking about, and the structures of the body is reliant on water and the integrity of water, the quality that water brings. So if we're putting poor quality water into our body, then that naturally has a negative impact on our body. So it's really creating a great foundation for quality water so that we can be quality human beings. And we are water, right?
We are water, yes.
We are water.
For a lot of people, water is just water, right? The idea that there could be quality of water, I mean, obviously with pollutants and things like that, but I get the impression you're saying a little bit more than that. It's not just about, because you mentioned the Japanese scientist, Dr. Emoto, right?
Yeah, so water is just water to the average human being, I'd go as far to say, because we've not been educated from a grassroots level as to recognize and value and appreciate water for what it should be viewed as, and this is where there becomes a stark problem. And part of the Water Crystal, it also has a sister project which is called W.E.T Academy, which stands for Water Education Tool Academy. So we go into the schools and we teach the children from the grassroots level. That's more a side project of the Water Crystal, but it's also it's for the younger generations to really foster and hone in to what that means from now in their early years of life, and then they're able to take that out into the world as teens and adults and grow from it. So I think it's definitely an issue with where it starts. And it's there's also, we also see water as is quite abundant. When we speak about our oceans and we know about the volume, 97% of the planet is ocean. 2% is locked up in glaciers and icebergs, and then 1% is fresh water, spring water, aquifers, stuff that we can consume as human beings. But if we recognize the statistics and the data around that and recognize that it is a life source, but it's also it's a dwindling life source. So if we really recognize that for all its entirety, then I'd like to think there'd be a lot more respect and a lot more gratitude towards it. And also the power of water, in a sense, is, and not even in a sense, it's very much, this is what I learned from Dr. Masuro Emoto, an extraordinary man, extraordinary man. He's experiments you can find online. I follow a platform, it's called the Water Peace Project. And every month they do an experiment where you speak into water. And immediately that changes the frequency and the vibration and the energy of the water. So it's small little implementations that we can adopt individually, because it is, in essence, it's about an individual responsibility, isn't it? And then being able to expand that out into a collective and a global force. So yes, so yeah, we can speak into water, we can charge our water, we can put it under the sunshine, we can infuse it with nature, flowers, and it totally changes the whole integrity and purpose.
Can you expand on the W.E.T? Do you have volunteers to the Water Crystal?
A lot of what I'm trying to achieve is to cover as many industries and areas as possible to deliver a message promoting the importance of water and generating the necessary funds. Now, W.E.T Academy was birthed off of the back of the Water Crystal, because obviously the Water Crystal focuses on the luxury, affluent industry, the corporate industry. That's our primary focus. But then that brought me back to, well, if we go into the higher echelons, we go into the higher end of side of things, let's turn the focus on the future generations, because in essence it's for them. And what I discovered along my journey, and what I think is very true to form, is the fact that this will become a continuous issue if we don't address it from the grassroots. So we don't go into the academia and the schooling system and the nurseries. One of my first projects was actually in a nursery, and they received
Amazing.
it so well. And also at that point, there is no ego. They're very much heart-centered at that age and stage. They're very pure and very receptive to learning. And water is so abundant with the amount we can learn from it and how we can evolve from it. So hence why W.E.T Academy was birthed. So that's a smaller running project at the moment. Once the Water Crystal is developed and at a stage where I can then turn my focus back to W.E.T Academy, then I can definitely funnel and spend more time focusing on that area of, I guess it's like a water ecosystem, a business water ecosystem that tackles a few different areas that needs our urgent, very urgent attention, really. So in terms of volunteering, I have had volunteers along the way. We've developed a water education program and session plans for schools and nurseries. We haven't got to currently at the moment, we're doing 5 to 16, say, in terms of our program and what the experience we've developed along the way. So yes, that's in its small baby seed stages, but it's great response. The children absolutely love it and they're so open to learning, and they're a lot more conscious. They're very conscious, the children. They're very mindful. Obviously, it depends on the environment and the home they comes from. But generally, children are very open and they love nature. You know, they love nature. They love the beauty of nature. They'd love to enjoy nature. And one of the issues I found with working with the WET, the Water Education Tool Academy, is that few children, again, recognize the importance of water. So most of them don't drink throughout the day. You know, they don't drink. There's a lack of education around the importance of hydration. Again, going back to what you were saying, Jay, about us being 70-80% water. We're mainly water bodies, aren't we? So yeah, it's starting with the grassroots. So and I love the children. In essence, the WaterCrystal and W.E.T Academy works for the children. I work for the future and leaving a better planet for them. And it gives them so much empowerment and leadership and confidence and just courage to go out and know that just a small little difference that they can make from what they've learned can help change this beautiful world that we live in.
Amazing. And you mentioned ego there earlier. It is better to almost aim to go for kids when they're at an early age because they don't have so much of an ego that's built up. You know, sometimes when you're trying to communicate a message to someone, you have to get through the ego first and then you find them. So
exactly, Jay, and hence the birthing of W.E.T Academy, you know, and it did kind of roll off the back of the WaterCrystal, but like you're saying, they've just got such a purity and an innocence, you know, and that love for life, which I think we lose as adults, you know, or we become tarnished because we just life in through life. And we're in almost a survival mode, whereas children don't have that kind of core depth of challenges, I guess. So it's really, it's intervention. I see W.E.T Academy as a really positive, pure, fun, enjoyable way to implement intervention so that we don't have to tackle what we're having to tackle today.
I don't think have we hit any of the questions that we had written down?
I don't think so.
This is great. It's really nice to be able to go off and explore your philosophy. And it's a really good philosophy. Thank you for sharing this because this is exactly what the world needs to hear, you know?
Yes.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. And guys, thank you for giving me the platform to do so, you know, because I'm very passionate, but I'm also quite nervous. I don't like to be at the forefront of stuff, but at the same time, I know I've got a beautiful story to tell, a beautiful mission that needs to be shared. And you guys are helping give the platform so that we can create this, what we envision, right?
I mean, it's embryonic right now, so hopefully when the fruits start coming, we'll have you back on and we can just like feeding everything. Because there's a lady in Bristol who she was like a Michelin star chef back in the day, and then she's now moved to providing good food for people who don't have a lot. And her whole restaurant is like you pay 20 quid for like this incredible 4-course meal. And yeah, and she's doing so much charity work, and it's just her whole life is like, yeah, so it's people like this that like this is, yeah.
That's amazing. And I think, and that's in essence, that's what it is, isn't it? If we all individually do what we are duty bound, because I do feel it's a duty, I spoke earlier on about being guardians of the planet. We're guardians of Mother Earth, but we're guardians of our children. They're our global children, they're our future generations. And we have to hand the planet down, as you guys have said, in a much better condition than how we've left it. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable and it's unwarranted. There's no reason why we can't foster better processes and policies and approaches and just collectively take responsibility for ourselves and our output and our footprint in life. So that's beautiful to hear about that lady. I'd love to receive her link as well, just to have a good look at what she does as well. So I look forward to receiving that from you guys. And maybe we can enjoy one of her meals one day.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Shall we pick up a couple of questions from the list, Jay?
Yeah, let's do that. In your opinion, Kristal, how can we collectively make the world a better place?
Parts of this will tie into what I've already shared with you guys on this podcast, but it's very much about individual responsibility and then it becoming a collective responsibility. So we do, with everything in life, we have to start with ourselves. So us as human beings, we've been given, especially in, I'd speak from maybe this side of the world, we're in a very privileged position compared to most, if not many parts of the world. So given that we've got this platform, that we are in a position where we can make great change. So it's very much about an individual approach, fostering and adopting new approaches to creating a world that remains ever giving. Because if we look at the world we live in, it's very abundant, it's very pure. If we implement the right things, we shouldn't really have any challenges. If we do place greed and power and control aside, then, it can be flourishing for many, many millions of years to come, but given the state of mankind, it's called mankind. I don't understand at times why mankind, because we're not so kind. We're probably the most unkindest species on the planet. Not ourselves, I wouldn't say ourselves in particular, but we are, we just the worst species. Animals don't function how we function. They're very they care and they love and they're joyous. There's such purity. Again, going back to that sense of purity, going back to source, I guess, how we were, we were birthed and how we came out. When we were birthed, we didn't come out with all these polluted states of mind. And that's what it is, the toxicities of mind, So it's just pulling us back to that. Just expanding on that. Areas I think we can help to make a better place is, like I say, individually and collectively, but also being mindful of our energy usage, our business practices, wastage, our general output and footprint in life. If we account for that, and something that W.E.T Academy in particular was trying to put together is some sort of, not necessarily like a journal, but some sort of day-to-day mapping, which is user-friendly, but allows us to actively be able to see what our day-to-day output is, positive impact that comes from reducing such a footprint, and also being able to share that message amongst our communities, whether it's our family and friends communities or the greater community. So it's implementing new structures and ways within the home. I definitely think everything starts within the home, and expanding out into the world.
Amazing. Do you believe that a change in people's mindset is crucial for positive global transformation?
Absolutely. All your questions are excellent, guys. But this one, definitely mindset shift. Again, moving away from greed, power, control, and moving more into a place of gratitude, abundance, and, like I was saying, being of service.
I do feel that there is way too much greed, power, and control in the world. And it is, for some that are at the very top, addictive. It's addictive for them, so they keep going, they keep striving to achieve it, and it doesn't benefit the masses at all. So no, I'm with you there. There is way too much greed, power, and control in the world.
It's exactly that, Jay. There's way too much differentiation between those who have and those who don't have. And this is where part of the water crystal was birthed, to try and bridge that gap. And once we can place some of that aside and be really conscious of the distribution, because it's all about distribution, it's not that we don't have, whether we're talking about resources, we're talking about a full array of things. It's very much about, it's just the distribution of it. There's a statistic on how many millionaires are being made in a day. And I'm all for that, but I'm also very much for what is the ethical footprint in order that you've achieved what you've achieved to date. And what is it? What's your marker and your standard in terms of everything is about transaction. And that's very much how the universe works as well. It's about give and take. It has to be, and it's about flow. It's like water, it's flow, it's movement, it's balance, it's harmony. So once we can place all that chaos aside and that greed and that want for more, and as much as there is that want for more, but then they don't have the fulfillment within here. And I think in essence, that is what, when we were birthed onto the planet, that's very much what is supposed to fuel and charge and nurture and sustain us, is our internal wealth. So once that level of knowledge and understanding is received out in the greater world, especially in the industries, particularly that the water crystal work in, then I do think we can make great headway. And hence again why I work with luxury and corporates. Same with the corporate industry. They don't care. It's all about bottom line. It's all about profit margins. But again, they're distressed. They're miserable. You know, they're extremely unhappy. A large majority of them. So it's just getting them to understand that material wealth is amazing. Because I'm sure we could all really enjoy some extra wealth in our lives.
But up to a level, right? Like you need the security. You need to not need to worry, oh, am I going to be able to pay rent next month? Once you get rid of that, then everything else can flower and flourish. But when you're stuck on that treadmill and getting more and more and more and more and more, you're lost.
And this is what it is. It's almost like it's that programming. I trust you guys know about that programming stage. Again, going back to mindset and stuff. So it's very much about we install and we download these programs into our minds. So for the affluent and the luxury industry and lifestyle, they're wanting more. They're programmed to want more external wealth, which they think in turn will bring them the joy and the happiness, you know. But then does that then become, it's almost like further away you come from source, which source is the internal source, your internal wealth, the further away you come from that, because you are so busy chasing wealth and these external ways of life, that they find it harder to come back to themselves. And it's like, I see more happiness in the homeless man and more gratitude and manners and principles. And it has shocked me. And I've been seeing it for about 10 years in particular, how those who have so little have so much inner greatness to them, inner peace. It's very much about an inner peace as well. And I think that's when it then goes back to source. And I think this is what's really, really incredibly important when we're talking about wealth and poverty. It's that peace that comes with it, you know. So you might be a homeless person on the street, but you've still got a resonance in yourself, a harmony. It's almost that harmony, a balance in yourself that you might not have much. And generally they are suffering. They are suffering a lot out there. I work against human trafficking. I work with street children. Some of the street children I work with, they're 2 years of age and they live on the streets, you know. But there's, yeah, I could go on about this topic. They're the global babies. They're the babies we work for. You know, I want to see them having just a small amount of what this in the wealthier sides of the world and life just has to offer, you know. Yeah.
If you had a magic wand, what would be the one thing you would change in the world to make the biggest positive change?
So my magic wand would definitely be focused on water, life force, Yeah, life force. I'm confident. I know enough. I've seen enough. I've experienced enough, and we know water being our source. So that's the foundation. So waving my magic wand around, it would be very much designing systems and processes that are accountable around the areas of water. And that can range, again, ranges from protecting our oceans and protecting our agriculture and our rainforests and in-house processes that we use. How do we use water in-house? I think accountability is a really key thing, and this is what I really try to embed in the core roots of the water crystal. So I think it's all good implementing and wanting to design and create certain things, but if nothing's accountable, if it's not measured and it's not recorded as data, that transparent data as well, I think everything can get very lost along the way. So my magic wand would definitely be around water and tackling the curriculum, the school curriculum. It has to be incorporated into the curriculum, and it has to be delivered. It's almost like part of the W.E.T Academy is almost like an add-on to the curriculum. It doesn't factor into geography or science or any of those particular topics. It needs to come in its own right. It deserves its own platform like that. And the
Mm.
beauty of water is it's so expansive. It's almost like it's quite infinite. What you can learn, what you can gain, what you can draw from water is so infinite, and it's so abundant, and it's like my magic wand would definitely create that platform, because the generations, I think, as much as I'm trying to tackle the areas that I've already created a bit of a negative footprint, I think in essence, we don't want to do the firefighting, do we? We want to intervene.
Yes. And tackle the source of the problem. I think the whole educational system does need to be revamped.
The children are still learning what we learned 20, 30 years ago, and most of which they don't implement. And with this next generation, with the future generations, they're very special born children. So I don't know if you guys are aware of the indigo
Yep.
children. Right, absolutely. So you'll understand where I'm going with this, Jay, in terms of they've got a different level of consciousness. So where the education system goes against them now, they're not able to really enforce the light that they're born here to do that greater work, because they are very duty bound to undo what we have done as the older generations. So yeah, it is. And everything is about balance, isn't it? Harmony and balance. But that's again going back to where we need to individually take responsibility and then collectively work together for the greater good. So
I hear you.
Mm.
How important is community in your perspective, and do you see it as a catalyst for positive change?
yeah, absolutely. I guess that's going back to, again, individual responsibility. Then a responsibility, I think, also of family. When we speak about community, we're talking about a family community, we're talking about a friend community, talking
Yes.
about the global community. So I very much believe in the model of each one teach one. Yeah. So as we learn, we share, and also not being in that ego state of mind where we can be open, coming more from a heart centered perspective where we can be open to learn and listen and incorporate and implement new teachings that we learn as our internal community and our external community. I'm very confident that if we do account for these areas of actions in ourselves and that around us, then naturally, I think it's a natural thing as well. Naturally, a positive change can be born. Again, it's very much about the individual, the collective, but then it's about placing ego aside and bringing heart and light and love. And if we worked from a place of love, then we wouldn't be seeing a fraction of what we're seeing now. So community is paramount, and community in itself, whether we're talking about in the home or small little home community, the little changes I could do in my home will naturally have an impact on expanding out into the greater community. So it's roots, it's from the roots, isn't it? Everything is from the roots, and then from that we can birth great trees and great flowers and great water sources. And individually we all have a duty. We all have a duty, whether it's ourselves, a duty to ourselves, our family, or a duty to the future generations, or a duty to Mother Earth. You know, she births so much on a daily scale to provide for us, and to nourish us. You know, and in turn, we have that duty to nourish back. So individual accountability, then that expands to a collective accountability. Also, I'm really passionate about just bringing love and light back to the planet. I'm on a mission to accomplish that with you guys' help along.
Yeah,
We're all in it together.
we're with you.
Absolutely.
We're here leading, and there's very few of us. There's quite a small army of us out here really trying to just see change, you know, and it's so easy to do and it's so beautiful to do. It feels amazing. When you do good, you feel good.
Yes.
It's just that imprint for us all to recognize that it's just a beautiful way of being, you know, and just looking at source as well. Going back to source, how have we been created? You know, what is our purpose on this planet? I mean, we've all got different understandings and recognizing, you know, why we've been born and how we've been born. And you know, I don't know if you guys know about, before we were born onto the planet, we chose to be born, especially at this time now. You guys
Yes, yeah.
Very much so.
there you go. So we chose to be born and birthed at this time. We chose to lead with purpose, you know, and I definitely think we're very much in fulfillment of that, guys. Yeah, I think just to encapsulate the whole session today, I'm very grateful. This is my first podcast, and I'm very, very grateful to be part of your journey, guys. I'm really proud of you both. There's very few people I meet along the way who deliver on what you're delivering on, you know, and I'm very proud of who and what you both represent in this world.
Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah, we so appreciate your words. We so appreciate you coming onto the podcast. And yeah, let us all try and make the world a better place. So that was Kristal on our podcast, and it was so good to hear from her. She is an amazing soul, amazing person here doing good change, and that is what we need more of in this world. So thanks everybody for listening to the podcast, and we'll see you again soon.